and welcome to the Southwestern PA Business Podcast. I'm your host, Mandy Pryor with Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we are so excited to have Jeff Hancher here today of Jeff Hancher Enterprises. He's going to be giving some great advice. We're going to learn a little bit more about him, and we're going to find out all kinds of tips and tricks for you business owners out there. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the program.
So good to be on. I know we've been trying to get onto the books for a while, and appreciate what you're doing for the business community, and it's an honor to be here.
Well, you do a lot for the business community as well. Tell our audience, tell us a little bit about you and how you got started and what you're doing today.
Yeah, the company really got started through the launch of a podcast. So I had spent 24 years in the Fortune 500 space, same company the whole time, loved the company, thought for sure I would retire there. But I launched a leadership podcast really for the purpose of serving leaders. I came to find that when I look back on any success I've had, it was at the hand of great leaders. It wasn't because, I had all this natural ability. It was because great leaders pulled out the best in me. And over time, I started to learn some of those skills as well and give it to others, and it began to really fuel me. I really love being a part of somebody's journey, empowering people. And so I launched this podcast in early 2019. Little did I know that people wanted to hear what I had to say. And that podcast kind of thrust me into what I believe is my calling and the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, which is, leading other leaders into helping their people reach their fullest potential. And so I left behind that 24-year career, scared to death, white-knuckled the whole way to go out and build my company. And we're embarking on year 5, and I can't even begin to tell you how fulfilled I am serving the leaders in our business community and all over the world. So it's been a great ride.
Wonderful. Well, it is a leap, that comfortable job with the benefits that come behind it to go off on your own.
Yeah.
So, obviously we have a lot of entrepreneurs out there, wannabe business owners, even business owners who are still in the first 5 years when they're still putting things together. So what advice would you have for any of them in taking that leap or growing your business as a new entrepreneur or business owner?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. We live in a YOLO world today, right? You only live once and go for it and jump off the cliff. I think that's horrible advice, quite frankly. I don't think, now look, I'm for risk taking, I'm for going for it. I think too many people want to go down the entrepreneurial path because it's trendy, sexy, it gives me flexibility, I can work for myself. Not everybody is built to be an entrepreneur, and that doesn't make it good or bad, but I think there are some innate traits that successful entrepreneurs have. And so a couple things that I would tell anybody that's thinking about being an entrepreneur is to test the market first. My way of testing the market without even knowing I was testing the market was to launch a podcast. Yes. If I would have launched a podcast and only had 2 downloads a week, that might have been an indicator that what I had to say the market didn't want to hear. And I talk to a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, and they usually come to me with an amazing product or service that they have. Uncle Joe has made the best apple pie in the county fair for the last 15 years. He's a blue ribbon. And so everybody's convinced Uncle Joe he needs to start an apple pie making company.
Absolutely.
Right?
Why wouldn't he?
Right?
It's the best apple pie.
It's the best apple pie in the world. Just because you have a great product or a great service doesn't mean you're going to be an entrepreneur. So I like this idea of testing the market and seeing if the market's going to respond before you go all in. Now look, there are these people that have the ability financially and with time and whatever it might be to go for it because they have high failure and risk tolerance. That's not everybody. A lot of people are white-knuckled, and if this doesn't work, I don't know if my kids are going to make it through college kind of deal, right? Yeah. And so you want to test the market first. The other thing that I would tell you is get around other successful entrepreneurs. There were some key people when I made this leap from corporate to being an entrepreneur, which demands a whole different level of skill set. And there were things that I didn't know that I needed to learn on how to scale, how to brand, how to market, as you well know, that I wasn't an expert on. So the other piece of advice is get around people that have been where you want to go.
Well, I agree. Mentorship is huge. Finding those people who inspire you, who are more knowledgeable than you. They always say, if you're the smartest person at the table, you're at the wrong table.
So
and
true.
I never agree with anything more, because you have a skill set that you have that other people might not have, but they also have a skill set that they have that you don't have.
Absolutely.
And so if you find those people who are really inspiring or doing things that you want, that helps. And as with the entrepreneurial mindset, obviously I'm very entrepreneurial, grassroots. I'm nonstop Energizer bunny. I was never cut out for corporate. I just don't like the atmosphere as much. It's just not for me. But I was built for like working nights, weekends, in between. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know. As you become a business owner, as you become an entrepreneur, like you're not just going to be working the same hours you would be at a corporate job. There's no 9 to 5. It's 9 to 5 plus 8 to 10 plus every other weekend and like in between. Like I'm always trying to find pockets of time to work and then trying not to burn out and have a healthy lifestyle balance too, which is nearly impossible.
It is. It's tough. It's really tough. And I think you hit a couple things there, is like what are indicators, which is a question I get, is like, how do you balance all of that, and what are the indicators? You know, you're talking about like you're going to end up working more. It's true. But it's not a cliche thing when you hear, if you find what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Like the first things first is you better love the journey, not just the apple pie that you're making, right? You need to fall in love with the journey, because the journey is as messy as it can get, especially those first 5 years. You're going to learn more in failing than you are in winning. And so a couple of indicators. One, fall in love with the journey. Two, if you're a fierce competitor, there's a trace of this fierce competitiveness that doesn't go into the unethical side. But one of the key indicators of successful entrepreneurs is that they hate to lose more than they love to win. So what comes with that? The third key, which is resilience. Like, you have to have this mindset of there's no plan B. I'm not trying this, I'm doing this. Because your mettle is going to be tested on the journey, because it's hard. Yeah,
and your ego has to go away.
It's got to go away.
It's got to go away.
You have to have enough humility to say, I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
So many times along the journey going,
yes, for sure.
You know, but you're learning as you go, and you're rebuilding, and you're building better. And
yes, and it'll never be good enough, because you're a fierce competitor. So it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to be enough. You're never going to have enough revenue. And so what I've learned along the way is to celebrate the small wins. You know, when I get that DM or that email from that leader that says, I was just about to give up, and I went to your workshop, and it opened my eyes to what leadership really means. Here I was chasing results when I should have been chasing people. Jeff, thanks for your time. And man, I'll print that thing up, I'll post it on the wall, and it'll be a fresh reminder of why I began. Because sometimes when you're walking through the valley of as an entrepreneur, you have to remember why you started. And when you get those small wins, I think that is the time that you can sit back, celebrate, not too long, but celebrate that what you're doing has purpose and it's serving people. And that will put some wind in your sails to keep going.
Well, and that, you know, that's very true for me, especially running a chamber of commerce. Like, I am all about my members, and I want to see them win. And my job, I feel, is to promote them and to see what they can do and how can I help each member. And it can get daunting, and it can get, you know, we have a lot of members, and I'm constantly trying to get to everybody at all the time. But I don't go in saying, oh my gosh, like, how big can we make this chamber? How, you know, how can we grow, and how can we bring in revenue? Like, my job is like, how do I help more members? How do I get more connections for the members that we already have? And that's why the chamber is growing. It's because I want my members that I already have to have more networking opportunities so their businesses can grow. And then, you know, we're all happy. I want everybody to be happy out there, especially who our members are.
And you have, by the way, you've done an amazing job of that. You know, I'm a benefactor, and I'm one of many where you're always looking for ways to serve the business. And I think that is it. And it's like, the journey hasn't been easy, I'm sure. You know, I just learned that you've been at it 7 years, which is amazing. But I'm sure if you look back on month 1 to where the chamber is now,
Oh, goodness.
and I'll bet it's rooted in serving people,
Yeah.
right? Like not chasing the result, but chasing the problems that you solve. And for me, it is solving the leadership challenge, which is a heavy load to carry for leaders. Leadership isn't easy. Sales isn't easy. But this leadership thing, if I can help one leader and give them the tools that was given to me, I'm a product of great leadership. That's why I have so much passion for it. I grew up in poverty. I'm uneducated. But there were some leaders along the way that swooped in and said, man, there's some raw material in this kid, and
You
there's
have
something
potential.
there. There's some potential. But had I not had great leaders, I wouldn't be who I am today.
And your own drive and ambition.
You got to have a little bit of drive. That's
you
for sure.
definitely do. And leaders aren't, I think a lot of people think of leaderships as people who are, running chambers or head of big organizations. But leadership can come in any single industry.
Mm-hmm.
It could be insurance, it could be banking, and it could be any type of industry where you're educating other people, where you're reaching out and you're that person who they're looking to for advice or they're looking to for help in your industry or even outside industries. So tell me a little bit about your workshops and your events, programs that you're doing and what you're focusing on and kind of the audience who's typical for one of your workshops.
Yeah, I would say our company's area of specialty, if you will, is 1, leadership, and 2, sales, and 3, the executive leader. So if you think of the 3-legged stool of why a company will succeed or fail, it's revenue, which should equal profit. It's leadership, because if you have a great product and not great leadership, you're not going to win. If you have great leadership but an inferior sales, you're not going to win. So we need great sales, we need great leadership, but we need great senior leaders. We need great executives. And so those are the 3 areas of a company that we create systems and tools to create a healthy culture. So we do that through consulting, we do that through workshops. Our workshops are now open to the public, where at one point all we did was inside of companies. Those are now open to the public, and our performance management workshop is by far and away our most popular, because I believe it solves one of the biggest leadership challenges today, which is equipping leaders on how to set great expectations, give great feedback, and being willing to have the tough conversation to hold people accountable. So we take them through this journey of creating a healthy atmosphere of accountability through big deposits, which I have found in my 5 years now as a consultant is one of the biggest leadership opportunities that organizations have.
It's retaining and finding out how to manage these employees.
Absolutely. If you have a turnover issue, which most everybody watching does, you're having a hard time attracting top talent, which almost everybody does, you have to make the investment into leadership. In my world, I track the numbers, I track the data. Now, it's been harder than ever, and I'm not saying this is a silver bullet, but here's what we know of people that have been surveyed by the tens of thousands. Why do people stay? 1, they embrace and endear the leadership that they're under, and 2, they see a path forward. So that comes at the hand of great leaders. John Maxwell, one of his most famous quotes is, everything rises and falls at the hand of leadership. You show me great leadership, I'll show you a great organization. The challenge is that most leaders got in their role because they were a good individual contributor and have never been equipped or developed to lead anybody. They just have this naivety sometimes that everybody's going to do it the way I did it. And that's simply not how it works. So we need to equip leaders to help others reach their fullest.
Well, and it's, my role at the chamber when I started, I was completely green, never been in leadership before. And I kind of tripped and fell into the position. I had a good aim of what I wanted to do. I knew enough about the position, and it was a good couple of years of growing pains and COVID on top of it. And, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure things out as we grow and through management and change over employees and everything that comes along with it. So it can be daunting, and you start one way because you know how to do it and you're going to do it this way, and then you're like, oh, but then there's here, and then this is happening, and then this is happening, which challenges you, which is fun.
Yeah.
And I love what I do.
Yeah, it helps.
Didn't expect it to be quite as immersive as
here we
it
are.
is. Yes, here it is. But, I couldn't imagine, it'd be hard for me to tear myself away from
You fall in love
working
with the
a
journey,
chamber.
fall in love with the process.
Yeah, I think it's so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we mentioned briefly employees. What do you think is the hardest thing out there now? What's the challenge? How do you retain? How do you stop the turnover?
Mm-hmm.
And what are some incentives or ideas for recruitment?
Yeah, here's some ideas around that. This is a conversation I have a lot. Here's what I'll tell you. I'll be a myth buster right now. You don't have enough money to retain your top talent. I mean, there's not someone else out there is willing to pay more. We're seeing that. We're seeing the labor costs are higher now than maybe they ever have been as a percent of sales. And so this naivety of we're just going to pay people more, look, if you can, you should right now to keep your top talent. But somebody else out there is willing to pay more. I will tell you that what I'm telling our clients and where I think the most empowering thing is to retain talent, as simple as this is going to sound, is the power of the one-on-one connection. When I go and called into companies, it's usually because they are dying, they're hemorrhaging. Turnover's at 70%. It's affecting revenue. Their income statement's eroding. And I come in and I ask a series of about 5 questions to find out where the biggest opportunities are. One thing that I incorporate into these companies is to ensure that every employee in the organization has dedicated time with their leader through a one-on-one connection. Now, the frequency of that will be determined based off of headcount, capacity. It could be 30 minutes a month, 30 minutes every 2 weeks, could be 30 minutes a week. I don't think you need to do this every day, but these drop-bys, they're not going to work. Dedicated time with an employee to talk to them about what is important to them, to pour into them a developmental plan, to give them the skills they need to earn wealth. And the art of this time that you have, trust is spelled T-I-M-E. And if you think even yourself or the listener, think about 3 leaders that have made the biggest impact on you. Were they leaders that you reported to or leaders that you didn't want to let down? They were leaders you didn't want to let down.
You didn't want to let them down.
That came through time, that came through deposits, that came through trust. Nobody goes on a first date and gets married. Rarely does that work. I'm not saying nobody, but rarely.
Yeah.
Even if the first date was amazing, I need some time to figure this out. When we can give that gift to our employees, we start to build trust. Trust is deposits. When you have big deposits, you can make big withdrawals. Even if you don't know what to do in a debrief, just start asking people questions. One of my favorite leadership questions is, why is success important to you? Why is success important to you? And I'll bet even as a listener listening, if you get to the root of that, there's a human being involved. Because there are people counting on us to win. When I know these things as a leader, I can start tying success, effort, and development into these things. The other question that I love, back to turnover in a debrief, is, what's it going to take to keep you here? And I'm asking this question when nothing is wrong. And it takes people off guard, like, why would you ask me this? I'm happy here, I love it here. Well, I just want to know if you ever weren't. And then lastly is getting to the root of developing people. Making money and building wealth are 2 different things. And we all know wealth is built over time, and it's built through skill, acquiring skill. We need to be leaders that can make skilled deposits into people to equip them to build wealth. When you can show them a path forward, what this does is it gives them a reason not to leave. Because the one thing that happens if I stay here, I get Mandy. And Mandy has made me better. She has allowed me to improve. She has given me skills. Now there's some loyalty. And this is the top 2 reasons why today people are staying. 1, they love their leaders. They don't want to let them down. There's loyalty and gratitude. And they feel like there's vision and a path forward in their career development. You invest in these 2 things. It's not a silver bullet. because it's the Wild West out there. But you'll see your retention get significantly better.
Well, and I think people need that one-to-one. You never know what's going on.
100%.
You never know what's going on within an office. People keep to themselves. They don't want to bring things up. They don't want to rock the boat, or they really want to rock the boat, but they haven't had an opportunity or the I don't know what word I'm looking for. But anyway, talking to them not only lets you know problems that are going on within your company, but it also shows you how you can improve your company just by having that one-to-one. So you're not just helping them, you're helping your whole entire company and the environment that everybody's working in just by addressing little things that are happening. And some people love to learn, and they are, love to go out there and take on new workshops and go network, and that's how they do it. And a lot of companies I know do the same thing, like, okay, you're this person, this is what you do, A, B, C, D, this is how we want results. But not everybody is the same.
It's true.
There's so many different types of personalities. There's so many different sales methods. And some work for some, and some work for others. Like mine is face-to-face. If you told me I had to cold call people, I'd be like, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. I will text, I will Facebook, I will LinkedIn.
Anything but a cold call.
Yeah, I'd rather walk in and be like, hi. Like, I feel more trust with people that way. I feel more comfortable just like going up to somebody than, calling behind a phone, and I don't know what that is. But
well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head here, which is everybody's different. And this is this emotional intelligence that's a trendy buzzword. But even if you're not an emotionally intelligent expert or get what that even is, when you spend time with people, they'll let you know what that is. If you've ever been to the lake or the ocean to fish, nobody takes one lure or one bait. Why? Well, because there's so many fish in the water. And if you ever go fishing with somebody that understands fishing, their tackle box has wheels because there's hundreds of lures. Well, if you ask them, why is that? Well, because the fish eat different things, and this fish eats that and all this. I've never put a Snickers bar on a fishing hook. And I love to eat Snickers bars.
You probably catch me.
I might catch Mandy in there, right? So I got to know that. If you spend time with people, they'll tell you how they like to learn, how they like to consume, what their emotional makeup looks like. Now, guess what you can do? You can deliver in a fashion to drive results. But here's the thing: if we're not doing this and we're not dedicating time, and if you're a leader listening, this is true. A lot of the connections that you make with people are to correct them when they're doing something wrong. Because as leaders, we have more to do than we have time. So if we look out and we see a problem, we'll run to the problem and we'll correct the problem. Now what's happened is you've created an environment that if you're coming, they all know there's a problem.
Yeah.
And they brace themselves.
Well, I think it was like Einstein, maybe it was Facebook Einstein, so I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but he wrote, I think it was a times table, and with the answers, did all the times, and there was one that was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
He said the entire classroom picked out the one answer that was wrong. He's like, but you didn't say I was successful for any of the right ones out there.
Yes.
So that's a good example of like, because we're all going along and leaders are busy. So we're like, oh, everything's great. What's that? Something's wrong.
Yes.
Now I have to address it. Rather than saying, you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great. Okay, this isn't great, but that's still great. How can we fix this?
That's it. And so then I asked the question, already knowing the answer. Okay, leaders, let's huddle. Why are you currently not doing this? We all agree there's value in it. Why are you currently not doing it? Number one answer, not even a close number two. I don't have time. I just don't have time. And this gets me back to one of my most favorite Abraham Lincoln quotes. When he said, Abraham Lincoln once said, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 4 hours sharpening the axe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Meaning, we're not going to just go to a tree with a dull blade and wail on the tree. I'm going to take time out and sharpen so that I can get through it faster. And this is the art of the one-on-one connection. This is the art of the leadership deposit, is to not just delegate, but to empower. When we empower people, we earn the right to delegate. If we're delegating without empowering, we're monsters. And that's why people quit. They get frustrated. They leave because it's never going to be good enough and they don't have the confidence. When we're meeting with them one-on-one, we're finding out what's important. We're finding out what their short-term and long-term goals are. We're creating developmental plans. We're checking in on the progress of their SMART goals, whatever it might be. Now I'm on this journey with you. And what am I doing? I'm making deposits. Now when I have to have the tough conversation, they don't see it as you're a jerk. They see it as a gift of feedback. Yeah. If you think about those 3 leaders that have made the biggest impact on you, were they tough on you?
Sure.
They were tough on you. But you didn't see them as a jerk because you respected them because of everything that they did for you up to this point. If we could just sharpen the axe. I know nobody has time to do this. I know that. It is an investment of time. When your car is redlining in 3rd gear, you got to switch it up. You got to switch that gear so that the engine is relieved and you can go further faster.
You lost me on that metaphor. I'm an automatic, so.
Yeah, I'm just going down the road,
wait a minute,
right?
okay, if that's,
but that's
I'm
what we're
assuming
fighting
you're in
for,
the wrong gear.
is capacity, and that'll do it.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's true, and I think that, leaders do need to sit back more and observe. Sit back and observe and see what they're, where they can go, because you'd be amazed at what people can do if you figure out how they do things best, rather than how they do things the same as everybody else.
Yeah, and leadership burnout, the most recent national statistics, is at 58%.
Oh, I can believe it.
Meaning 58% of the people that are in leadership watching this today are burnout and ready to throw in the towel. This is a leadership opportunity, and it's a leadership problem, right? Like, we have to get this right. And my only challenge is, like, to the leaders is it possible? And the answer is, it is possible. And I think with a couple of small tweaks in the leadership culture, in how we're pursuing leadership, it can help us get the capacity we need so that we can work on the team and not in the team. Working in the business, working in the team is the most exhausting thing that there is. And we're the best at working in it. That's why we got promoted.
That's why we sit there and work in it.
We just get in there, get in there.
We know what we're doing.
Yes. But now the mission's too big for any one person. But we still try to carry the load, and that's when the burnout starts to happen. We have to empower and equip others so that we can go further faster.
And so from your perspective, what are the top 3 biggest business mistakes you've seen?
I would tell you hiring. As of late meaning the last 24 to 36 months, hiring is the biggest business blunder that I'm seeing, because right now labor's hard to find, and we're making very poor hiring decisions. Number 2, which is on the heels of hiring, is retention. I don't think we have great onboarding in companies, and it's never been more critical than now to onboard employees the right way. We're not the only game in town. It used to be where you went to work, that's where you stayed. That ship has sailed. And so this retention piece, and there comes a lot, onboarding, training and development, one-on-one debriefs, all of those things. And then the third thing is the leadership culture. There are more leaders leaving now than ever before, and so we're promoting people into roles that are ill-equipped. And it's pick of the litter.
People are hiring just to hire.
They're hiring just to hire, or they're promoting from within, and they're not equipping people. So the third one, I would bundle it in succession planning. Hiring, retention, succession planning. If you can win in these 3 fronts right now, or even outrun everybody else, you're going to have a significant competitive advantage. I'm not here to tell you AI is not important. All the other things that are trending right now, they absolutely are. We can't ignore those things. But in my opinion, from what I'm seeing in business, in commerce today, these are the 3 areas. And if we can go all in and invest in these and not just wing it and not just have a rotating door, if we can create stability, regardless of pay wage, you're going to win bigger than your competitors, and you're going to advance faster. And we know this is possible.
I believe it.
Chick-fil-A does a great job of it. Shout out to Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
They're not the highest paid job out there, but both of my kids had to do a 1-year tour of duty
They
at
do,
Chick-fil-A.
and they hire within, and they have
Yep.
educational opportunities. We're doing our
Culture.
Bring Your Kid to Work Day. They're giving the chamber kiddos
There
out
you go.
there free ice creams. that
Shout out
day.
to Chick-fil-A. They do it well.
Yeah, we're gonna do. I'm gonna have all the kids do their own business cards.
There you go.
Right?
That's
Little
awesome.
paper.
I love it.
Yeah, so it should be cute. But they do. I mean, they hire within. They do. I thank them so much. As you know, we get a little flack for the franchisees, but Chick-fil-A does not do the national campaigning that some of the bigger franchises do. They do local promotion,
They're
which
in-
is
they're in their
nice. They're
communities.
supporting our communities.
Yes.
Which is a big game changer. I mean, especially within Chamber of
Yeah,
Commerce.
it's their
we're always
pleasure.
looking for
Yeah.
supporters out there.
Yeah.
Plus, they have like an adorable cow mascot that
I
comes
mean,
out.
how can you, I mean, branding right there. Eat more
yeah.
chicken, right?
Eat more chicken. Great stuff. Great stuff. Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Is there
Yeah.
anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like businesses out there to know, or know about your workshops, or what you do within your company?
Well, here's what I've learned on this crazy journey of, poverty to any level of success. There's two things that can change who you become. What you consume, what are you taking in, and who are you surrounding yourself with? And it would be an honor for me to serve anybody that watches this in any capacity that we can. I have a podcast that comes out weekly every Thursday.
Where can they find that?
You can find that anywhere you stream. I mean, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, it's everywhere. There's a YouTube channel. Also, sign up for the show notes. So you can sign up to have the show notes emailed right to your inbox every week. Those are absolutely free.
I didn't know that.
There you have it. We give you
See? You learn something new
application
every day.
activities, questions to ponder from the show, so that I'm not just consuming, but now I'm taking action on what I've learned. So that's absolutely free. The workshops are on our website, jeffhancher.com. It's spelled Hancher like Jolly Rancher, but with an H. We're out there. Our next one, as of the recording of this, is June 13th. It's our most popular leadership workshop, our performance management workshop, and it'll be held right here in the Pittsburgh area. So we'd love to see you in the room. We'd love to meet you, and you can learn more about all of our workshops on the website.
Well, I appreciate you and all of your hard work. I do consider you one of my mentors, which I have to meet with every once in a while just to
It's a privilege.
help me gear back in and not suffer from
doing
terrible
fantastic.
burnout. Thank you. And I can't wait to attend one of your performance management, maybe even your sales training courses. I think it's so important to continue education, especially in any role, in any business. Like, continue education. It can really open your eyes to new opportunities and bring so much back to the business that you're in.
No doubt. Sharpen the axe.
Sharpen the axe. So thank you so much, Jeff, today for coming on and speaking with me. And, I'm sure you'll be a guest again here soon.
I would love to. And thank you. Thanks for all you're doing for our business community and putting businesses together to collaborate and help each other win. We really do appreciate you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you to Jeff Hancher, like Jolly Rancher. We'll be making sure we share all of his links out there so you can follow Jeff and get his show notes and watch his podcast. And just a reminder, we have our golf outing coming up at Moon Township Golf Club. That's June 28th, Community Outlook May 16th at the club at Nevillewood, and so many other fun opportunities for you this summer. Jeff's workshop is June 13th, so make sure you jump on board and get into performance management, help your company and help your company's future. I'm Mandy Pryor with the Southwestern PA Business Podcast, and we hope to see you again soon.